Hi everyone! Before we dive into this amazing story, please subscribe to my channel and don't forget to like the video. Your support really motivates me to create more educational content for you. In this video, there are lots of useful vocabulary and learning tips, so stay with me until the end. Now, let's get into the story. In an old, worn-out neighborhood, there lived a man named Henry. Once a prosperous merchant, Henry had seen the golden days of wealth and success. His shop was once bustling with customers, and he was respected by everyone in the community. But as time passed and economic conditions worsened, his business declined. His once thriving store, filled with luxurious goods, gradually emptied, and eventually, he had to shut its doors forever. The large house he had bought with pride and the elegant car he had driven through the city streets were now just distant memories. Left with nothing, Henry moved into a small, damp room on the outskirts of the city. Henry's wife had passed away years ago, leaving him alone with 3 children, 2 sons and a daughter. When they were young, he had cared for them with all his heart, providing them with everything they needed. They used to look up to him, proud of their father who had always been a source of strength and security. But when poverty knocked on their door, everything changed. His eldest son, James, who now had a family of his own, slowly distanced himself. At first, he made small excuses too, busy with work, overwhelmed with responsibilities. Then, he stopped visiting altogether. His second son, Michael, had always been drawn to wealth and luxury. As soon as the family's fortune declined, he saw no reason to remain close to his father. He moved away and rarely even called. Emma, Henry's daughter, had been the closest to him, always a source of warmth in his life. But after she got married and moved to another city, she too became distant. She called occasionally, but Henry never wanted to burden her with his troubles. As the years went by, Henry's loneliness deepened. Once strong and energetic, he now suffered from constant joint pain, and his body grew frail. He could no longer work, and without any income, he struggled to afford even the most basic necessities. His small room was cold, and he lacked the money for proper heating. He survived on the little food he could buy, sometimes going to sleep hungry. At night, lying on his old bed, he often thought about the past days when his children were young, when they would all sit together for dinner, laugh, and share their dreams. He wondered how those happy times had slipped away so quickly. One particularly cold and rainy winter day, Henry felt his strength failing. His blankets were thin, and his hands trembled from the cold. Desperate, he decided to visit his eldest son, James, hoping for some help. The journey to James's house was difficult. His weak legs barely carried him through the rain. When he finally reached a doorstep, drenched and shivering, he knocked. The door opened slightly, and James's face appeared, cold and indifferent. "Father, you need to pull yourself together. I have my own family to take care of now. I can't take on more responsibilities," James said, his voice lacking warmth. Before Henry could say another word, the door closed. Henry stood motionless for a few moments, then turned back. The walk home felt even longer than before. The rain mixed with his silent tears as he realized that the son he had once raised with love now saw him as a burden. Days passed, and Henry grew weaker. He barely had the strength to move, and loneliness consumed him. But then, unexpectedly, Emma came to visit. The moment she saw her father's condition, her heart shattered. His frail frame, his hollow cheeks, and his tired eyes told a story of deep suffering. "Father, why didn't you tell me? Why did you endure this alone?" she sobbed, holding his cold hands in hers. Emma immediately decided to take her father back with her. She wanted to care for him, to make up for the lost time. But Henry was too weak. Traveling was no longer an option. He simply smiled at his daughter as if to say it was too late. One night, as the winter wind howled outside, Henry passed away peacefully in his sleep. The next morning, Emma found a letter on his bedside table. With trembling hands, she opened it and read, "My children, I love you and have always been proud of you. Life changed, and I could no longer provide for you as I once did. But my heart was always yours. Wealth and poverty come and go, but family is the only true treasure. I hope one day you understand that love and loyalty are the most valuable things in life. Your father, Henry." When his children gathered for the funeral, reality struck them with full force. James and Michael stood in silence, avoiding each other's eyes, both filled with regret. They had been too late. Emma was the only one who had stayed by her father's side until the end, her tears the only true farewell Henry received. As Henry was laid to rest beneath the earth, he left behind not just memories but a lesson that echoed in the hearts of his children. Poverty and wealth are fleeting, but love and loyalty endure forever.